Hey, this is Dennis with Home Rehab Pros. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to talk about a tool that everybody has. It's a tape measure. When you go to the big box stores, there are so many tape measures to choose from. Which one should you get? There's some in every price point and just about every size. Well, today I'm going to take a look at three main tape measures. I'm going to take a look at a Stanley. I'm going to take a look at a Milwaukee and a DeWalt. We're going to just compare some of the features, not all of them, but some of them. We're going to look at the price points, and we're going to see which one you might buy and which one I would definitely get. So let's get started. Let's take a look. So the first tape measure I'm going to look at is the Stanley. Now, this is a very popular brand. There's a lot of different Stanleys when you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or any of those stores. These are pretty economical, but we're looking at this 25-footer. Now, I have a 35-footer in my car because I want more length when I go out and measure my jobs. And it does help me when I measure in carpet or when I measure in some other things that are in big rooms. But for most DIYers, a 25-footer should do the job. So let's take a closer look at this. First of all, let's take a look at the end. Now, the end, it's just this typical end. There's only one hook, one side on the hook. It moves, okay, and it's supposed to move, so it's no big deal. It's not broken. That's another topic for another video, perhaps. But it also locks, and you'll see that I have it locked here. You can unlock it with that, or you can simply lock it again by pushing that down. So let's take a look at this, okay? The blade is very readable. It's a very readable blade, okay? And as you go through here, you can see that it's marked with the foot. It's marked with the 16-inch, which framers would use a lot of. So the inches are split up into 16ths, eighths, halves, and quarters, okay? So it's a good readable tape measure. And as you can see, it looks really nice. It locks really nice. It releases really nice, and it holds really nice in the hand. All right, so this is a decent tape, and the price point is very, very nice compared to the other ones we're going to look at today. And sometimes they say that you only get what you pay for, but you get a good tape when you spend the money on this Stanley, and you get a tape when you spend the money on the other ones too. The next tape I want to look at is this Milwaukee. And we're just going to look at the same things. It's heavier than the Stanley. You can feel it. I mean, it's obviously a heavier tape in weight. Okay, it has the same lock mechanism. See how that works? Yeah. And you can just press that down and lock it. All right, but let's take a look at this tape. Now, the readability on this tape is very bold. I personally don't care for it, but it's very bold. It's also, this is interesting, you have the numbers on both sides of the tape, which some people may really like. You also, something that the Stanley doesn't have, you have a hold there. So if we unlock it and we're just we're measuring something and we just want to hold it like that, okay, then we can let it loose, come back. You might want to look at the hook. Okay, the hook has both sides, and again, it moves. It is designed to move. And this hook is much beefier. You can see it as it goes, as we go. Okay, so that's something that this side of the hook may get in the way. It may not. It depends on what you're trying to do. For my likes, it's a little too bulky. And this also has, the foot. Although, as bold as the numbers are, I don't really care for how the foot reads. And it's got the 16-inch centers. Okay, so that's good. So this is quite a bit more expensive than the Stanley, and that's about where we're at with that. Now let's take a look at the DeWalt. Now the DeWalt is the most expensive one that I have. And again, like every other tape measure, it's got the lock system. Okay, so you just lock it, or you unlock it, you lock it, This one's a little bit harder. Seems a little bit harder to lock. But there you have it. Same is true here. The end, it's got that double hook. In fact, this is even a little bit bigger than the hook on the Milwaukee. I don't care for that double hook. I just like the one side hook. Especially when I'm working with drywall or carpentry and I'm trying to put pencil lines on something and I'm using this as a guide. I just don't need that double hook. But some people like it, and it might just be able to give you some advantage. All right, so the numbers on this one are very readable as well. It's almost exactly like the Stanley, right? The Stanley, very readable numbers. It's an inch broken up into 16ths, eighths, halves, and quarters, just like both the other tapes. It's got the foot marked, and it's got the 16s, and of course other things. But we're just looking at basic use, right? So let's take a look at these tapes side by side. We have our DeWalt, we have our Milwaukee, and we have our Stanley. Now, as you can see, they all have their adjustable ends because that's how they keep accurate measurement. These two are the same. They have hooks that go both ways. This one's a very simple hook. It just goes below the tape. And of course, I have them all locked with these mechanisms here. All right, so let's just take a look. You can decide what you believe is the most readable tape. I personally don't know that I like the real bold numbers. The DeWalt here and the Stanley here seem to be about the same. Maybe the font is a little bit bigger on the DeWalt, so you can read that. Now let's take a look at another feature. This clip. All right, the clip is a very standard clip, and it's pretty heavy duty. It screws right into the tape right there, pretty heavy duty. Okay, the clip on the Milwaukee, I really don't care for that. Although, it works, it's nice, it's pretty steady. It's hard to clip onto my belt, I found. This clips on better to my belt than this does. And let's look at the DeWalt. Okay, so that's a nice clip as well. I think that's comparable to the clip on the Stanley. But let's take a look at the price points here. First, let's take a look at the Stanley. And you're going to look at the price point here, and you're going to see the cost and what it is. And you saw the tape and what it was. Now let's take a look at the Milwaukee price point. Okay, here you go. Here's what it costs. These are obviously pictures I took at a big box store, and so they're accurate. Now let's take a look at the DeWalt. So if we're thinking which tape measures best for me, I'm going to tell you right now, the Stanley tape is what I would choose. And I'll tell you why. The price point is a big part of it. But the tape also functions very nicely. In my trades, and as a drywall hanger, I used my tape measure hundreds of times a day. And those Stanley tapes last. Not forever. They do break. I mean, let's be honest, they will break. And sometimes what happens is this blade breaks and it splits. And then sure enough, it just recoils back in there and you're done. Okay, so for 10, 11, 12 bucks to get another one is not painful. I could buy 2 or 3 of these for the same price of that Milwaukee or DeWalt. And you know what? Those blades break too. Okay, so for my money, this is what I'm going to get. For your money, well, it just depends on what you want to do. If you want a heavier tape, if you want to just have that feel in your hands, if you want the numbers on the other side of the tape, the Milwaukee's a good tape. You noticed also that Milwaukee had that finger hold on the bottom, which to me isn't here nor there. It's not worth an extra $10. But it's a good tape, as is the DeWalt tape. But for the price point, I'm going to go Stanley. So this is my tape. And of course, hopefully this helps you a little bit think about which tape measure you want to use and which one you want to buy. And so hopefully we learned a little something today. So it's been nice that you've joined me. I really appreciate it very much. Again, this is Dennis with Home Rehab Pros. Not a complicated tape, just a little education about tape measures. And hopefully if you haven't subscribed, you will do that after the video. And if you learned a little something, even if just a little bit, please like the video. If I missed something or you think you know something that I didn't cover, please let me know in the comments below, because I can learn from anybody. And far be it from anyone to think they know everything. So thanks for watching. And again, this is Dennis with Home Rehab Pros. You have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.